Welcome to Module 8 of the Tribal Data Toolbox training. And in this module, we are primarily going to focus on how to validate your data with the toolbox. I'm also going to demonstrate how to make a backup copy of the toolbox. We recommend that after every major operation you complete in the toolbox, such as importing data, entering a large amount of data, etc., that you make a backup copy of your Workhorse toolbox. And by your Workhorse toolbox, that is the toolbox you use to routinely manage your data. So every time you go into the Tribal Data Toolbox version 3.0 folder and open up the Tribal Data Box version 3.mdb file, that mdb file is your Workhorse toolbox. We recommend that you store your backup file in a folder named something obvious like Toolbox Backup. And we also have suggestions for the structure of your folders in the supplementary logistics model. So I'm going to start by making a folder on my desktop for my toolbox backups. So I'm going to right click on my desktop and go to new and select folder. I'm going to name this something obvious, Toolbox Backup. After making my new folder, I'm going to navigate to the Workhorse toolbox. So I go to my start menu and computer and my hard drive and my Tribal Data Toolbox _ version 3.0 folder. And this is my Workhorse copy of the toolbox. So when you make a backup copy of the toolbox, it needs to be closed. So make sure that your toolbox is closed before you back it up. And to make a backup copy of the toolbox, all I need to do is make a copy of it. So I right click on the Tribal Data Toolbox version 3.0.mdb file and do a copy. Then I'm going to close this folder and I'm going to go into the toolbox backup folder that I just made. And this is currently empty, but as you back up your toolbox, you're going to have multiple copies of the toolbox that you backed up here. Now I'm going to right click and select paste. As soon as I paste the file, I want to change its name. And the reason you want to do that quickly is because you never want to have two copies of the Tribal Data Toolbox _ version 3.0 MDB file on your computer. It's just too confusing to know which one is the backup copy and which is the Workhorse copy. So I'm going to immediately select rename, and what I recommend doing is putting the date that you backed up the file at the end of the name. So I am going to click right here, right between the 0 and the dot, and I'm going to type the date that I'm making this backup. So I'm going to do 04/17/15, and then I'm going to press enter on my keyboard. And the reason we suggest having the date in the file name is because eventually you're going to have a bunch of backup files in this folder. If you need to revert to a backup copy because you made a big error in your Workhorse toolbox, for example, let's say you deleted the entire archive table and now you need to go to a backup copy. You need to know what file was the most recent, so that's why we want to keep the date on the file name. And I would also recommend keeping all of your other backup files just in case later down the road you see something that you made an error on and you need to go back further than the most current backup. That completes the process of making a backup copy of your toolbox. So I'm going to go ahead and close this folder. And when you make a backup copy of the toolbox, it's a good idea to run compact and repair in your Workhorse toolbox. And the reason you do this is because it decreases the size of your toolbox by eliminating empty space, and it keeps it running smoothly. So I'm going to demonstrate how to do that. So the way you would do it is you would open the toolbox like you normally do. So I go into my start menu and go into computer and go into my hard drive and then go into the Tribal Data Toolbox _ version 3.0 folder. And remember, you want to do this in the Workhorse toolbox and not the toolbox backup copy. So I'm going to open the toolbox like I normally would by double clicking on this Tribal Data Toolbox version 3.0.mdb icon, and I enter my database password. How you do compact and repair varies depending on what version of Microsoft Access you have. I have Microsoft Access 2013, and to do compact and repair with 2013, you go into Database Tools, and then you select Compact and Repair Database. And I just click on that, and you don't see much of anything happening, but all it's done is remove the blank space and make the toolbox run smoother.